Food allergy and eating out. Food allergy affects about 2 million people in the UK, about 8% of children and 2% of adults. And for many of those people, it can really be not just inconvenient, but life-threatening sometimes. We know that admissions to hospital as a result of food allergy have increased by 87% between the year 2004 and 2014. That's a huge rise, and we know that about 10 people lose their lives every year to food allergy, particularly to peanut allergy, which can cause anaphylaxis and devastating consequences. So up to now, only about half of the population have really been able to identify which foods are more likely to cause a food allergy reaction. There's quite a lot of ignorance in people who aren't affected by food allergy as to what the problem is, and that's reflected in the situation where people with a food allergy might go to a restaurant or buy a takeaway snack, and the people serving you don't really take it very seriously if you ask them, is there anything that might cause me to have a reaction in your food? So they will dismiss it as a food intolerance, or they'll dismiss it as, faddy eating. No, don't worry, our food's wonderful. They might not check with the chef, or the chef himself might say, well, I don't know where these oils come from, I'm not aware of anything in them, so I'll say no. But we know that restaurants can often be the place where somebody has a bad reaction to a food allergy or a takeaway. They're equally likely to cause problems. But now, for the first time, a law has been passed whereby the top restaurants, the restaurant chains and high street takeaway operators have to inform people of the 14 most common allergens that we find in food. Things like peanuts, tree nuts, soya, shellfish, fish, celery, and things you might not otherwise suspect. Those restaurants have to inform the customers if their foods contain those 14 ingredients. Of course, there are many others, but those are the most common ones. Sesame is another one. So that's good news for people with food allergy. They have to be very careful. They should always carry an adrenaline pen with them. But with the best will in the world, even if they ask questions, even if they're careful, we know that most people with a serious food allergy might have to use their EpiPen twice a year. So always have it with you. Make sure it's in date and hasn't expired. Carry a medical alert badge or bracelet to tell people that you've got a food allergy in case there's a problem, and just be careful. But more and more is being understood about food allergy, and you're increasingly protected.